I don't want to jump over the Giants. We're talking about the Tennessee Titans, and well, I guess so. I was going to have the conversation of are they going to be interested in J.J. McCarthy, but I can tell you they're not because they took Malik Nabers at number 6. So Nabers now off the board at number 6 over Odunze. It sounds like you're pretty cool with that.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't talk about the Giants before the draft, but they were one of the most, I think, interesting pivot points in it. Like, they could have gone wide receiver as they did. They could have gone offensive line because that line is still a mess. They were not out of the quarterback conversation with Daniel Jones there as well, and they've ended up going with Malik Nabers. Look, I think there's absolutely a valid conversation to be had about Nabers versus Marvin Harrison. The explosiveness that Nabers brings, that fluidity of movement at his size is incredible. The only concern I have with Nabers is the way he gets off the line of scrimmage and that sort of shoulder shrug way of avoiding. Which gets him into trouble sometimes. There's a bunch of plays on tape where he gets stuck on the contact because he doesn't use his hands to clear it. Now, that's something they clearly teach at LSU, right? It's not just him doing it. But if he can get back past that and actually start using his hands, then he can be devastating.
So the Giants spent this offseason. We knew that it was one of the worst offensive line situations in the NFL, not just last year, but the last few years. They spent on John Runyon to come in and play guard, Jermaine Illuminor to play right tackle, probably with Evan Neal, disappointing over the last couple of years. But I feel like they've stitched it together to be a little bit better on the offensive line so that they can make this pick. I mean, we're sitting there with Daniel Jones heading into year 6, where I don't think he's had a good offensive line or a good group of receivers yet. So finally, Malik Nabers to go with Darius Slayton, to go with Jalen Hyatt, and a lot of speed on this offense.
But you're also, because the offensive line is so deep in this draft, you're going to be able to come back in the second round. They do have a pick, right, in the second round. That's how I get into trouble with these things. But
who the Giants?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the Giants have the ability. Yes. Some tackle is going to be there in the second round that can help them. So they're going to be able to get both.
Yeah, they do. They have the Seattle Seahawks pick for the Leonard Williams trade, so they do still have pick 47 in the second round. So that is a possibility there for them. But it is interesting that 10-year anniversary of them drafting another LSU wide receiver who worked out pretty well for them for a little bit, Odell Beckham Jr. They take Malik Nabers, who they're certainly
It is interesting for me, though, that slot receivers now, which is really what he is, are going to have the ability to have that kind of impact on football games because of this slot go. The ability to run go routes from the slot was something I was preaching for my early days at television, because when you're inside there, you have all that field to fade to go catch the football. Mm-hmm. And when you're outside, watch the 2 Alabama corners and how well they can squeeze you in. Nick Saban teaches that pretty well over there.
Absolutely.
And they can squeeze you into the boundary, but from the slot, you're running 4-3 out of the slot. That's dangerous. You better hit that jam if you're going to get after him.
That's what Tyreek Hill started doing, right? That was sort of how he first made an impact, was running those slot goes where you couldn't get anywhere near him because he was so fast.
Good pick for the Giants, man.
I agree.
You got a lot of speed.
I think it's an awesome pick.
And so, we talked a lot on the podcast. It feels like a chalk type of draft until you hear the rumors of the trades, right? And you're kind of hoping for this, crazy, QB trade up and the whole thing. But it's kind of like the top 3 quarterbacks that we expected. The best 3 offensive players, I think, in the draft: Malik Nabers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Joe Walt. I think it's
there are
what we expected.
Yeah, there are a lot of mock drafts that are still intact after
very
the first
intact,
6 picks.
Very intact, which I'm thankful for. I look at what the New York Giants did this offseason, and it gives them the flexibility to be able to do that, right? They've got worries of, okay, what is Evan Neal for you? They go out and they sign Jermaine Illuminor. They go out and they sign John Runyon. They sign Aaron Stinney. Like, they have added new bodies to that offensive line to give them the flexibility here to think, okay, we have the opportunity to go get a major playmaker, an immediate wide receiver 1 on this team. And if you can't upgrade Daniel Jones' position exactly by moving up to number 3 and getting Drake May, who I think they wanted a lot, the next best thing after you've upgraded the offensive line is very clearly to get him a player like this, who Chris is talking about, has so many deadly ways to beat you with 2-way goes and deep plays from the slot and all that kinds of stuff. So I think this is a really good pick for the New York Giants. I think you're going to be very happy, and this is somebody who I think could be a major producer even in year 1.
And excuses now gone for Daniel Jones, right?
Oh, no question.
So what they're going to do, I'm sure, is come back with an offensive lineman with their next pick, go receiver, go offensive line, go, here you go. All right, let's see it.
So
Yeah,
what
I mean, they're tied to him.